Hey guys, it is time to wrap up what we read for the month of February. Hey guys, if you are new here, welcome to the Book Path. I'm Nicole, and if this isn't your first rodeo, thanks for sticking around. So February is over. It is time to let you know what we got finished reading. I know there are a few books in here that I've already covered in other kind of wrap-up videos or talking about. So if I come across them, I will kind of briefly give you my thoughts, and then I will let you know what video I went more in depth on and go ahead and link that down below. Okay, so first up at the beginning of the month, we picked up Skin White as Snow by A.A. Warren. This was for the Reddit Fantasy Bingo Challenge, and this was for the self-published or indie author. And hard mode was that the book had no more than 100 ratings on Goodreads. So we went ahead and read that one. I ended up giving it 2 stars. It was what it was. It was very quick paced. It was like a novella kind of length, but it really didn't do anything. And kind of the way that the characters were written just didn't really throw me. It didn't grab me. I just was kind of like reading from point A to point B to be done with it and go on. It really didn't do much. There was an interesting premise because like Snow White is supposed to be basically a vampire. They don't tell you, but you, from all the kind of clue-ins that you have, is she's a vampire that's supposed to be like going to slumber, and the dwarfs are actually supposed to be her keepers while she's in slumber, so she doesn't like hurt anybody or anything. The one thing of sympathy you get is that because everybody kind of views her this way, all she wants to do is just have a chance at a real life. And when she sees Cinderella, she kind of wants to, you know, take her chance and, you know, kind of thwart things out. So she devises a little plan to maybe try that out. But it's very short-lived. The prince is kind of an idiot. Like, so it just wasn't, like, I can't really speak much of it because it really wasn't a long read at all, so I don't want to give it away. That was basically the premise. It just fell short for me, but it was done, so we did go ahead and complete that. So I ended up taking a little bit of a break from the Reddit challenge that we wanted to do this month. And that was because I ended up getting a few arcs, which I was super excited for. The first arc I got was The Kiss Lottery by Ilsa Madden Mills. I gave this 5 stars. It was fantastic. Found family, Scooby-Doo vibes, second chances, small town, Valentine's Day. It was perfect. Great scenes, giggles, laughter, loved it, enjoyed it. I did go ahead and leave a link down below because I did its own video for that one. So you can go ahead and check that out if you want a little bit more information. It is out now, so pick it up. It was fun. It was great. So next up, we had Star-Crossed Colorado by Hannah Shield. This was also another arc and also another 5 stars. I liked it. This was another kind of found family, small town romance. Age gap, single dad, grumpy sunshine, with a little hint of suspense and mystery lashed in. Loved it, loved the characters, loved the side characters, and this is supposed to be starting a series, so I can't wait to see what romances the side characters are going to get because they had some great personalities. I did love the relationship and age gap relationship between the 2 main characters of this one. The daughter and the dog were just the most adorable thing ever. So definitely pick this one up. 5 stars. It is, you know, out in stores now. And if you want any more information, check out the link for it below. But if you like all of those things, a little bit of mystery, like I said, a little bit of suspense, wraps up beautifully, going to be the start of a wonderful series. Check it out. So then we went back to some of our Reddit challenges, and that was to read House of Bane and Blood by Alexis L. Menard. This was for the Reddit Fantasy, of course, and this one was to read prologues and epilogues. Read a book that either has a prologue or an epilogue, and hard mode was that it needed to have both. So I had kind of stolen this book from Mel over at Melanor Reads. She had chosen this book for the same prompt. I am happy I did. This was a 5-star read. It was fantastic. The witty banter in this sort of enemies to lovers, steampunk-ish, like world of magic and in almost like had Peaky Blinders elements to it. I mean, it was just a fantastic read. Loved the characters. Loved that the main character, female, or the main female character was strong and like a badass in her own right, but like without being annoying or like cranky about it, if you know what I mean. So she was fantastic. And oh my God, the male character, new book boyfriend. That's all I gotta say. New book boyfriend. Loved him so much. He gave me vibes of Will from the Infernal Devices series by Cassandra Clare. So if you like Will's personality, you're gonna love the guys in this book. And then, like I said, you had some really good, strong characters. I wanted to kind of see some of the brothers' relationships of the main character. You see a little bit of one, but I kind of wanted to see some of the other ones that showed a little hints of personality that I once again, I loved it and kind of want to see what are their stories. But this is the first book in what I believe is a duology. So I will definitely be picking up the sequel for this one because like I said, it was 5 stars. Fantastic. So highly recommend that one. So next up were a few books that we ended up picking for the Literature Readathon. I'm not going to go into too much detail about it because we did do a wrap-up video for that. First up, we had Stoneheart by Katie Robert. I ended up giving this one 3 stars. Next up, we had To Claim a King by May Sage. I enjoyed this one. Very quick-paced. Loved the female combat in it. I ended up giving it 4 stars. And then it kind of went a little downhill. We did A Court of Blood and Void by Meg Shuime Shi. I ended up DNFing this one. The main character was just really annoying to me. And then when you found out the age of the actual character, it just kind of made me uncomfortable to continue going. So I ended up DNFing it. And then next up we had Sword of Lions by T.B. Krasner. This also was a DNF. I got about 3/4 of the way done with this one, or 2/3 of the way done, whichever one. It was like 200 pages in. It had a really good premise and certain things were really, really great about it. I just felt like the escalation of like battles and plot as it was supposed to go on really didn't happen too much. It kind of just stayed linear and it almost felt like a little repetitive with the types of battles and the types of enemies that they kept coming across. Like I wanted a little bit stronger, a little bit, badder, a little bit whatever as they were going on. And I felt when they were talking about how they were going to bring in characters like King Arthur and all these other kind of literary characters that we know of, if you don't know of them, you are not going to understand their greatness in this series. So I felt like just a little bit more explanation for people who don't know into like who's Robin Hood, who's all these things. Like we take it for granted that we know who they are, but there are probably some people out there that they don't. So giving a little bit of backstory to that aspect of it would have been a little bit better for me. Like I said, I delve a little bit more into it in the Literature Club wrap up. So those were basically the 4 books that I read for that. So then we ended up going on to the Romantasy-athon readathon, and I wanted to do its own wrap up, but time got away from us, and it's going to be part of this one. So I will show you kind of what happened and what we kind of got as our dresses and everything we were kind of going for. Okay, so first up, I ended up doing the Who to Bring, which was to read a new series. And I ended up getting this wonderful date that who knows who's under the helmet. And for that, I ended up reading Blood Crush by Soraya Kondi. I ended up giving this one 3 stars. It was kind of steady going on, and then towards the end, it started to escalate and then left off on this wonderful heart-wrenching like cliffhanger. But basically, you have a main character who she had a crush on this boy in high school, and when she gets her chance to go and date him, he disappears, and she's kind of told that he went back to his ex. And so she's brokenhearted. She's tried to forget him. Flash forward years later, and she's living in the city, and she and her friend are kind of splurging for like a dinner to celebrate this kind of launch of what could be her new jewelry business. and she sees the guy. He looks a little bit different, but you know, still is handsome. She doesn't know if he recognizes whatever. And sooner or later, because she recognizes him, she gets kind of tangled up in this new world with vampires because he is now a vampire. And stuff happens, and she's left injured, and in order to save her life, she must be turned as well. So it's kind of her coming to terms with what it means to be a vampire. And I thought that was really well done, actually. Like, how she kind of fought with, I don't want to hurt somebody, I think drinking blood is gross, like all those things, but knowing now this is the life that you have, like this is, you have to adapt or you will perish type thing. All while trying to understand the more sensual side of the vampires and her pull towards this guy as well. So it was well done, not very spicy at all. There's like a makeout scene, I think, and I think there's like a scene that has like hinted at nudity, but like it's discussed about, but there's no real explicit scenes in there. So it's very, very light spice mode for that. But I did like it. I am going to be continuing the series just because, like I said, that cliffhanger kind of pulled me in a little bit to where I feel like I know where it's going to go, but I want to see it kind of unravel for myself. And so, yeah, that was basically what I read. So we have our lovely, lovely helmeted dates. Probably not the most appropriately dressed. So next up, we ended up picking up our weapon book, which was to read a new author. That was the choice that I picked. And that was reading Mistress Guard by Clara Wills. I ended up giving this one 4 stars. I really loved it. It was fast paced. You had this heroine main character who she has grown up in battle. Like she is literally whatever equivalent of a Valkyrie you want to give. Like she is bad. She's just awesome in fighting. And she is kind of like at home on like the small land that she's kind of inherited from her father. He has passed. She shares this land and her house with kind of an adoptive brother who secretly has a thing for her. She's kind of mending a broken heart from one of the men, her comrades that she had in battle. A little fling kind of happened, and then he disappeared on her. You end up finding out that there was a sort of miscommunication of what happened, and all things kind of have fallen apart there, but he was the only one that she's ever really known. So there's kind of a brokenhearted there. And basically, through her ex coming back into her life, she is given a chance at getting some wealth to take care of her lands, take care of her home, by becoming the bodyguard for one of the prince's mistresses. And so she's like, okay, money's good, that's fine. But also now she has to cross paths with her ex. Not exactly the thing she wants to do because she's still very much attracted to him. But then another man who is very much in disguise comes seeking her out for sword lessons he wants to be taught. And so she takes him on as well. And there is a little bit of a love thing going on there. And then obviously, let's not forget the kind of adoptive brother who is kind of like a very powerful mage. And this is basically a reverse harem, why choose kind of romance. So you can see where that's going to go with all the spices and the plot lines. I will say, spice-wise, good. I will say the powers of the adoptive brother type, when you see what he can do, it is inspiring. Let's just say it was very interesting, and yeah, it's just it's interesting and kind of sad that we don't kind of have that in our world here. But it was enjoyable. But it was a very good book. Like I said, I liked the it was multi-POV, so you could see how these guys were feeling about her as well, which I always love those aspects. And then, like I said, she is a very strong, independent, rough around the edges kind of girl. She is not the slender, petite, you know, model looking type. She is very tall, very muscular, very like her body image is not one that she thinks is beautiful. And these three guys have very much different opinions on the matter. So I gave it 4 stars. We ended up getting a magical ring. You know, we're hopefully not going to have to go to like a mountain and toss it in, but yes, we got a magical ring. So that moves us on to our next book, and I used this one to kind of double up on prompts. So I used this one for the what to wear prompt, where it was to use, I picked the black cover of a book, and out of all the dresses that we got, I chose this one. I just thought it was stunning, and I was like, yep, that's the one I'm going with. And then it also was our background to give kind of what our background was. And so I read a book with fae characters in it. And so hence we have this kind of lovely, I'm pretty sure it's Legolas. So we have, I guess, 2 Lord of the Rings references in our photos here. So maybe that's the world I'm from, or a world like it. I don't know. But for these prompts, I ended up reading Crown of Blood and Stars by Dana Leanne. I gave this one 4 stars. I found it was really interesting. It was a little quick paced, and the only issue I had with that was that in some of the areas where it was quick paced, I would have liked to see it slow down and develop a little bit more, especially towards the end. I felt like the whole training the savior sequence was very much rushed, and I felt that she was very ill prepared to kind of take on these final battles, and I would have liked to have seen that kind of stretched out a little bit more. But it is very interesting. You have this world where there are humans and there are people who have like magic abilities, like a fae kingdom basically, and the king's kind of going mad, and he's collecting all the girls from the villages for potential wives. And our heroine is basically one of the girls that is collected, and she, I mean, I don't know if I want to spoil it or not, but I guess, I mean, it happens pretty quickly on, is that she basically kills the king right there and then, which you're, I mean, in a very graphic way that you're like, wow, and like kind of all hell breaks loose. And she is rescued by basically the king of the Feylands, and he's very kind and sweet, and like goes against everything she's been taught about him and his whole kingdom. And you end up finding that there are certain prophecies and kind of what her role in these are, and what her love interest, what his role might be, because obviously there's a new evil on the rise that must be put down. But I really liked the way that they incorporated like mythologies with the stars into this book as well. So I don't want to go too much into it, because I feel like anything I might say is probably going to give more of the plot away. And I just thought it was very interesting. But like I said, you have prophecy, you have the great evil that must be gotten rid of. You have I don't want to say enemies to lovers, but I guess mistaken enemies to lovers in this. And a very strong-willed main female character. So that one, once again, I gave 4 stars to, and we got our dress, and we got to know where we come from, what is our background. So next up, we had our bonus prompt, and that kind of gave you a story based on what you read. And for this one, I ended up reading Direbound by Sable Sorensen. This was an arc that I got again, and this was 5 stars. It was fantastic. If you are a Fourth Wing fan, pick up Direbound. Please, you will not be disappointed. Like, honestly, if I were to take Fourth Wing and Direbound, just Fourth Wing, just Direbound, and put them side by side, I might get a lot of hate for this, but I would probably pick Direbound. And the reason I say that is because for Fourth Wing, there was a lot, like it took me over 100 pages in to really get hooked into that story. And then once I got hooked in, it was fantastic. Direbound got me like right away. It gets you right away. I think by chapter 4, you are in trial mode. And these trials are just as death-defying as the ones in Fourth Wing, if not more. It was fantastic. The games, the competitions, much more like just the deadliest kind of things you can think of. Very gruesome as well, but it was just, it blew my mind. It was so well done. Like, I can't praise it enough. If you want more information, go check out my review on it. I will leave the link down below for the Diary Bound review. But that one was our bonus. And that kind of gave us a little story to what was going on. It gave me the feeling like I was at this ball for a plot of some sort, and that perhaps my helmeted companion was there as my backup, because something happens, stuff goes down, we are racing through whatever castle, and we end up taking a kitchen route to escape. But lo and behold, I think we are blocked off, and then we are leaving with running off into battle, I guess. That's kind of what our bonus was. So it was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun doing that one to kind of see what was going to be revealed as we did these prompts, because we found out little by little over time what our prompts were really getting us in ways of this grand ball that we went to. So I had a lot of fun. The books were very interesting. Obviously, we had some good reads, which leads us to our next book, which this was also another arc. It was a month of arcs for us. I am not complaining. I feel very blessed to be able to get some of these. So this one was Beautiful Mistakes by Cora Kent. This was a 3-star read. This one actually just came out. This one was 3 stars for me. It wasn't bad. Like, it's a mafia romance with vengeance. Like, vengeance is key in this one. And you basically have this main character, I think her name's Lucrezia, and she comes from, I think it's the Castiglione family, but it's a very prominent family in the Midwest. Yes, this is a Midwest mafia, something you like never really think of. But she has been treated in very, very less than desirable circumstances by her family. Very horrific things. Check trigger warnings. There are mentions of underage SA in this, so definitely there's mentions of it. It's talked about. It's not in detail, so but be forewarned, because I know that can upset a lot of people, but it is kind of a jumping point for this character's kind of vengeance. But basically you have that's what happening to her, and then later on you find out her brother, for reasons that get explained later, sends her off to a convent in Italy, and she is abused in this convent. So she ends up like escaping the convent somehow, and she is back now in the Midwest with plans to take down her brother, who now heads the family. And she ends up teaming up with this kind of local motorcycle gang that she has known one of their members from her younger days. And she kind of gets put together with his like second man, his second in command. And there's kind of an insta-lust that goes on. I don't want to say insta-love, but it's like an insta-lust. And that kind of like just carries them through as she's trying to do this plot, and then things turn, and I don't want to give away the turn of the plot because it kind of starts off in one direction, and then with the shift that happens, it goes in a completely different direction, and everybody kind of has to pull and band together to help someone. So that's probably all I can say. I know it's kind of cryptic, but that is kind of what I say on that one. So it was interesting once it got to that twist and turn. That part, that second half, I really, really was more curious and more pulled in with, and that really kind of had me. The first part, which kind of deals more with Lucrezia's vengeance, while understanding that the things that she went through at the hands of different family members were horrific. They were horrific. I'm not going to make excuses for it. They were horrible. Her father was abominable. I think that her siblings were probably more on the oblivious side, which is not exactly an excuse for them to do the things that they did, but I think that under their own duress from their father and kind of the expectations placed upon them, I can understand in their perspective why things kind of rolled out the way they did, but I also understand Lucrezia's like hurt and pain and what would drive her to vengeance. However, the vengeance that she was wanting to orchestrate, I felt was just a little much. Was just a little much. I don't know if what her brother did really warranted what she wanted to do. I mean, I understand that what happened to her was bad. I don't know if her brother really knew. I don't think he knew until later on what she went through at the convent. So it's kind of one of those, like, she's putting a lot of blame on him without him really knowing what was going on. So I do think her vengeance was just a little much. Like, I kind of wanted it to be like, if she wanted vengeance, she wanted to take him down while feeling powerful. I almost wanted her to go like after his empire and like, I don't know, spy or espionage or whatever it is, and kind of usurp him and take over the empire and then become head of the family. Like that I would have been behind a little bit more. So yeah, it was a little much on that one. But like I said, once that twist came, I was a little bit more engrossed in it, and I don't want to give away that twist, but it was good. And so I ended up giving it 3 stars. I don't know if it's going to be a series or not. I haven't really seen what's going to be coming up next. So I'll be paying attention to it. If there is one, I might pick it up because I'd be curious to see if it goes more with Lucrezia's family or if it goes more with the motorcycle kind of group that's in there. But like I said, that was basically what we read there. And then our last book of February was our cocky hero pick. And that one was Reckless Romeo by Sienna Snow. I ended up giving this one 3 stars. It was what it was. It was good. It was good. It was fun, but it was really predictable. And you basically have this kind of, you have 2 families that they were both immigrant families. They came together, formed a business, and made a life for their kids. And now the kids is the next generation, and they've all grown up very wealthy. And on one hand, you have kind of our playboy billionaire, always in the limelight for the wrong reasons. And then you have our female character, who I believe her name is Rhea, and she is out on the West Coast, and she's kind of a fixer. She, for all the celebrities that get in the media attention for the wrong reasons, she kind of swaps it so that it preserves or makes their reputation a little bit better. She repairs that type of stuff and kind of helps them to not make those faux pas in the future. And of course, now that this billionaire playboy over here is making stuff, her dad, his dad, who's kind of like a second father to Rhea, kind of calls in for her to come and help out. And of course, she has had a crush on him her whole life until like there was a turning point where she saw like the arrogance and the playboy coming through, and she was like, nope, done. And she doesn't know that he's been kind of feeling the same way too his whole life. So it was cute. It was fun. Like I said, there was supposed to be kind of that enemies to lovers banter, but I really didn't feel it because that underlying attraction, you knew right away that there was a history here and they both really wanted each other and that it was going to happen. So I felt like for the most of the book, you were really part of the family, kind of like slapping yourself on the forehead, being like, when is it going to happen? Like, we're just going to sit back and watch as you two figure this out for yourselves, because we know where it's going. We just need you to figure it out and get there. And I felt like that was kind of where you were as a reader. I was really actually invested in, once again, the side characters. Rhea's little sister was a pistol, and the way that they talk about, basically there was this celebrity who Rhea had helped that kind of got attached to her. I really wanted to see if there was going to be a future with Rhea's little sister and that celebrity, because it was hinted at that they like, she's probably the one that could handle him best. And I was like, oh, do tell. And then our billionaire playboy, his little sister was like a massive tech wizard, and she was really playful and witty, and I wanted to see kind of what her story would be. And then you have Rhea's older brother, who's like just very much workaholic, stockbroker type, and I was invested kind of in their stories and wanting to see who they would end up with. So sadly, I'm like, I almost wanted this to be a series just so I could read the side character stories, because like I said, I felt like this was very much, you knew where this was going to go and you were just very much waiting until they just figured it out for themselves. But yeah, it was good. Another one done. And so we will move on to our next Cocky Hero pick for March. But that was basically what I read for the month of February. Like I said, lots of arcs. We had a few readathons. We completed them all. So yay, we completed things. There were a few books that we didn't get to that were for the Reddit Fantasy Bingo Challenge, but we are going to try to tackle them in March because we have till the end of March to finish them. So we will see what we can finish and what we can get through for that. But other than that, let me know how your February went. If you celebrated Valentine's Day, what did you do? Was it romantic? Was it fun? Did you do a Galentine's Day? Did you do an anti-Valentine's Day? You know, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to know how you guys celebrated. If you did, if it was just another day for you, cool. Did you relax? Did you have fun? Let me know what your favorite reads were. What readathons you guys participated in, if you did any, and just general thoughts, leave them below. Let me know how you guys are doing. But yeah, I hope everything is going well for you. I hope warm weather is on the rise for you. Hopefully not so much of the spring showers. I think in many areas we got a lot of them, and then in some areas you might need them. So, you know, I hope the weather works with you. But stay warm, stay hydrated, take your allergy meds if you need them, because that season is upon us, and just take care of yourselves. And I will see you guys in the next video.